Hey, what's going on, guys? Jay at SFR coming out with another video. Surprise, surprise. Well, I don't know how long this is gonna last, I'll be honest with you, but I am trying to document as much as possible for this particular build. But frankly, I did not have much time last week on this car, so I'm just gonna post something else so that I don't bore you guys with same car, me just talking over it. Not that this video is any fun, but here's a clip of me tuning my 3.8 turbo that I built last year about this time. I happen to have all the footages on this memory card. So here we go. So if anyone's interested, I'll make a full video just going over the car, what I did and what I built for the custom turbo kit. Simple spec is just eBay turbo, about GT35 size, pushing about 7 pounds for now, making whopping about 420 at the wheels. Yeah, nothing impressive, but good enough to shrad. I had no issues at the track, aside from like the power steering pump failing on me for the first time. But anyhow, let's just go back to the 240 build. So you saw the condition, how it was inside. Took out a lot of garbages and some harnesses and wirings and some cables. I saved it, but a lot of junks were just toast in the trash can, as you can see. And I just started pouring water inside because it was muddy. It's not like this hasn't seen any water inside, so why not just pour water, just wash it down with help of simple clean and some brushes here and there and some water back there. And also you can see a lot of holes and patched up spots here and there, and you could, some areas you could actually see through the whole ground. So it worked out in my favor, draining the water. And this is the outcome of just watering it down, just simple clean. Not perfect, but way better than how it was before. I was just uncomfortable to jump in the car and start working on anything interior because God knows what was in there. As you can see on the driver's side, which is the right side now, didn't have much of holes or patched up spots, so it was not draining the water, which kind of upset me, not gonna lie. And that's actually normal. So anyhow, I had to just let it kind of soak with rags and stuff like that, and I was gonna just vacuum it later and wipe it down. And another thing that's been bothering me is that this passenger side door, left side per se. So this car actually has a little bit of frame damage underneath. It's pretty banged up and bent, so it didn't line up the whole frame, especially the driver's side. Though you don't see any frame damages from the top to the front, but you could clearly see the door's not lining up like it should. It was never closing. So I just jacked it up with a little lumber underneath and just bent the hinges upwards so it would at least close. This is not perfect by no means, but at least we could close the door. Yeah, so need to force it a little bit, but at least it closes now. So this is the next day. Everything's been dried up, and I was pretty comfortable to jump in and out of the car and start working on it. So like I said, my goal was to get everything done that what I need to do on the lift so that I could just set the car on the side and start working on customers' cars that were scheduled to be worked on. So as you can see, the shifter linkage is way further back than the Genesis Coupe. It's not only the shorter car, But also, it could be the transmission's longer on the Genesis Coupe, or the motor is actually located further back or pushed in. So at the end, they had to be shortened. So I was shortening up the linkage and the rod at the same time. But in order to line that up perfectly, I had to shorten the linkage first to have it centered right into where the stock shifter location is for the 240. And I will actually chop the rod to match that. It's a pretty simple process, and I've done this before anyway. So I kind of had an idea what to expect and what I needed to do. But this was a little bit different than how we did it for the 380SX project. I think that's because the 3.8 transmission was way more beefier. We didn't have much room. It was actually elevated a little bit higher, so that I had to cut a bunch of stuff off and the transmission tunnel just to accommodate and have the shifter linkage lined up. But for the 2.0, in this particular setup, we didn't have to do any of that, which was awesome. So I started marking the shifter linkage where the center is and start chopping it. I had to chop maybe 4 or 5 times just to be accurate. It is missing a little bit of piece that goes to the bushing. I intended to use a different type of bushing for this particular setup. That's why I wanted to use something that was damaged. But I ended up cutting another one off and welded back on this one. So FML. So once the linkage was lined up, I ended up chopping the rod to the length. You can see it's pretty much lined up here and it's very flush. I'm only going to just go ahead and MIG weld from the bottom without taking the whole rod off. And that's actually how the factory is welded. You can see the shifter linkage actually welded back where the bushing goes to the end. And not the best welding looking, because this is the cast aluminum. They are not going to weld pretty, unfortunately. So moving on, I went ahead and made a brace in between the motor mounts that we made last week. Just have extra support from top to bottom. I wanted to put 2 of those braces, but I ended up just putting 1 in so I could take the bolts in and out. The bolt that I was complaining about is also hex type, so I don't have much room to turn. So I ended up just putting 1. And here's the outcome with just simple flat black paints. So I think it will do the job just fine, and it's beefy enough. So moving on, I wanted to put a gas pedal just to see how it's going to look and line up, and also I could start ordering some parts for the seats and other stuff for the interior. So I'm just looking for the stock, and I found a couple gas pedals in stock. So I found the item in the bins, and here we go. So went ahead and took off the 30-plus-year-old gas pedal, and look what I found. Some type of stopper. Someone was very creative and put that pen cover to be a gas pedal stopper, looks like. But yep, we don't need that. So I went ahead and bent the 1/4 inch steel so that I could put the gas pedal to the position where I want it. Where you see is pretty much how the stock is for the Genesis Coupe. So I went ahead and positioned it and welded the bottom plate so you could elevate the gas pedal where you want it. And I drilled the hole and rib knotted it, and so the 10 mil bolt will hold. And also I had to put one on top so that there's no movement on top either. So that's just how it's gonna be. Looks like the clutch pedal is actually a little bit to the right, so I'm gonna fix that. So one last thing I had to do before I take the car off the lift was to measure the drive shaft length. In order to do that, I needed the differential. Thankfully, friends over at Freedom Motorsports let me borrow the differential and S13 differential cover. Thanks to Zach and Lucas, let me use their differential. So I was able to use a PVC pipe and measure the length. I'm still in a search for a good drive shaft shop, who can make this custom drive shaft for me. So the 240 now it's pushed back to the side because I got the customer's cars to handle. More parts are showing up for the 240 as well, but this will be set aside as well. And guess what this block is for? It's gonna go in there. So that temp engine will come out and be replaced with this one whenever I get a chance. I'm building this engine so that I could put it in one of the customer's cars. I'm currently working on this Genesis coupe with the top mount turbo, which just lost the metal gasket on the manifold, so I just replaced it. Still leaked last night, so to do it again. So second time is a charm. Now it doesn't leak anymore. So anyhow, I don't know if I will be posting more updates on the 240 for now or not, but if you guys like to see more of stuff on the Genesis coupe, which is pretty much the same thing over and over, still let us know. So Jacob, say bye.